So that's my new one. But why don't we dive into our first topic? Seattle Sounders, champions of CONCACAF, Club World Cup participants for the first time ever for Seattle, and for the first time since like 1998 in MLS. Instant reaction. What are you thinking?
It was coming. It was bound to happen eventually. And I'm very much not surprised that it was Seattle. It was first to get to that finish line because this organization is run. I mean, if you're a new team coming into the league and you want to model your organization after another team, the Seattle Sounders are your team. This team has only known success, doesn't know what it's like to fail in this league, and has continued to push. What's the right way to say this? Like push the boundaries on what an MLS team is capable of. So,
yeah,
hats off to them. Fully deserved. I mean, they stomped Pumas in that second leg. I mean, it was an emphatic win. It wasn't like, oh, you just scraped by. Like, no, they won that pretty easily. So, obviously, great for the league. We'll touch into that. We'll touch on that more later, but not surprising to see that it happened, and not surprising that it was Seattle.
I agree. We will definitely dive into a little bit more, but I got 33 minutes of battery life left. I gotta get my charger. And we'll dive into this a little bit more, but I do think this is the anomaly still. I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, we're never going to lose another one. We're going to lose another one. I can guarantee you we will lose another one because Seattle are deep, but I don't want to put it this way, but they got lucky with how deep they are, right? 16-year-old Obed Vargas filled in for João Pedro and didn't miss a beat.
João Pedro or João Paulo?
João Pedro. Yes, no, maybe. But any other person who puts a 16-year-old on the field is going to get rocked, right? That's a great find. It's a great development, but not every team has that. It goes back to the conversation of needing deeper spending limits and stuff like that. The other thing I think we have a little bit to, I don't want to say thank, it's a awful thing that happened, but the big break that league took because of what happened terribly in the Querétaro incident way back in, what was it now, early March maybe. Definitely gave them a leg up because they still had to play those games. So I don't want to harp on that because that's such a terrible thing to watch through. But this is a great step forward, no question. We'll talk about how we repeat it and how we continue to find some success. But I don't think that we're just never going to lose another one. I don't think we are now the kings of CONCACAF, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Pause. So obviously, right, a great achievement for Seattle, for the league. What do you think it means for the country? What do you think this means for soccer in this country now that we are competing in a Club World Cup? We are Champions League winners of our confederation. What does it mean?
I almost feel like I don't think it has the meaning that it should. I think if the US were to be successful in the World Cup, I think that would do more for MLS than Seattle winning the CONCACAF Champions League. I think it's obviously great and it's going to help grow the league more, but I don't think people value the Club World Championship as much as they do like just winning the European Champions League. I think winning that competition has a lot more weight to it than like watching Chelsea go beat the best team in like Saudi Arabia or watching them beat the best team in Brazil. Because like I mean, as great as teams may be in their respective leagues, I think if you compare them to what the spending power and super teams that Europe's able to build, I mean, they really don't stand too much of a chance. I think it's a good opportunity to get the Seattle name out there more, because some people will obviously still watch the Club World Championships, but I don't think it will do a ton for the league, in my opinion.
I completely agree with you. I think so. What I did is after we won, I sent a picture of them winning in our Instagram group chat and asked people basically, did you even know the game was happening? Does this change your view on anything? Nobody knew it was happening. Nobody gave a flying frick about anything that happened. This does not offset Eurosnobism. This doesn't do anything other than give, honestly, it gives them more of a level of excuse, an excuse platform, if you will, right? Oh, well, you only have one. Liga MX still has a ton more, or you got one, but you got lucky because of X, Y, and Z, or that's not even the real. I got one I wouldn't even call that a Champions League. That was another comment that I got. So I don't think outside of like the Pacific Northwest, this held any weight at all, which is a problem. But I completely agree with you in the fact that the men's national team performing well at the World Cup with MLS players, which is going to be scarce, by the way, would do better for the league than what Seattle did. Not saying that what Seattle did was not massive. So I kind of separate into two groups: MLS fans and the general soccer public, right? MLS fans understand that this is massive. MLS fans understand that this is a massive step forward for the league, for the country, and for improving. I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this. For the people who understand what it means, it matters that much more. For the people who don't know what it meant for the league or the history behind it, it means nothing, and it won't ever mean anything. Now, unfortunately, I don't think if we win 10 in a row, anybody's going to care, because people still have that mindset of, oh, well, it's just CONCACAF, it's not Europe, right? And again, that's what we're trying to fix here. That's what the board says, but I don't think that's fixed with a few CONCACAF Champions League titles.
Yeah, I think honestly, if MLS were to continue to produce good young talents, I think that would do way more for the league than Seattle going to the Club World Championships every year or whatever. I just think if teams in Europe start getting these young guys from MLS and they start to produce and play well, like an Alphonso Davies, now all of a sudden your attention is on MLS. Like, oh wow, they actually like are producing good young talent. Hey, if we can like get ahead of the game if we like pay attention to what's going on over there. Maybe we can find the next guy that's moving on and is going to be big in Europe. So I think like I agree with you in the fact that like you and I really like appreciate what Seattle was able to accomplish, but someone like I don't know if I have a good example, but just someone who follows, let's just say, European soccer,
Any
but lives in the
of my
US.
college teammates.
Sure. Any of your college teammates. They obviously aren't going to care about Seattle winning this. They would only care if Seattle sent like Obed Vargas to go play for Arsenal, and Vargas gets minutes and it starts becoming a regular for Arsenal now. I think they would care a lot more about Seattle than they would Seattle winning the CONCACAF Champions League.
I'm going to flip that. I don't think they give a damn where he came from, because how many people do you think respect Vancouver for creating Alphonso Davies?
Well, you got to get some consistency with it. If it's a one-off thing, I don't think they'll care. But if you're consistently sending guys to Europe and they're playing well, I think people will start to care.
I think that's an agree to disagree. I don't think they would care at all, because Eurosnobism at its roots is the I'm missing the word. Discrediting of the league itself, whether it be player development, whether it be competition, whether it be success, any opportunity they have to discredit the league is what those people will do. So until we can attack that head on, which I still don't have a good answer for, really, you won't get that, right? And really, I think what it comes down to is money. And we've talked about this, but until you're spending the way that the Premier League is, people aren't going to care, because the only people don't want to watch development, right? We can appreciate development because it's something that we can be present in, right? We can go watch a Red Bull game. We can go watch an FC Cincinnati game. We can go watch any game that's relatively
Vancouver versus Toronto game.
Vancouver versus Toronto, which is making my eyes bleed. It has been awful. Because we're so invested in the league already based off of having a team that we grew up near, it makes it easy for us to appreciate what development is. But for the people who have only watched teams like Man City, Barcelona, and all those other teams who have just bought the best players in the world for decades, maybe not decades, right? That's a stretch, but who've only bought the best players in the world every time they've had a chance to. Pep Guardiola buying $1 billion worth of defenders over a 3-year span. They don't appreciate the mistakes that we watch and then have them come back next year and say, man, he has made a complete 180 in the way that he plays. And that's just the way it is. So unless we want to get away from that and sink a ton of money into what we're doing, nobody's going to appreciate it, which is unfortunate. So to tie this all back, Seattle Sounders winning the Champions League is fantastic for people who understand what it means. For the people who don't get it, they never will.
Yeah, I think there's a huge demographic of people here in the US that watch the sport, but they follow Europe solely, not the local leagues, which I think you're definitely right. If you're going to turn those people around, you just got to like unleash the spending, go let them sign the Ronaldos and the Messis, because that's the only way you're going to get these people to care about the league around here. They're not going to care about the development like you and I would.
Right. Because the majority of them only care about what they can do on FIFA. Right. If you're not signing 89 rated players, you're washed, man. You know, and that's disappointing. And I've sat down and had conversations, some very good conversations, right, of what you should be looking for and what what this is about. And I've had some other ones that have been just a waste of time, because again, at its heart, at its roots, Eurosnobism is a discrediting of MLS, plain and simple, for no reason other than it's funny and they want to. They don't even have the data to back it up. They don't have anything to prove anything other than the fact that 20 years ago, this was a retirement league and I haven't watched anything since. So because I don't know about it, it's just still a retirement league. We've gone into that too. We've got lots of episodes to link on this one. Just go watch every episode. We talk about it at some point, all 102 of them.
Exactly.
So let me flip this for a second. So we talked about what it means for the country, not so much. And we talked about how the people who know about it, it matters. What does it mean for the league? And what does the league do in response to this, do you think?
I don't know if it changes a lot for the league, but I think it's a great sign of a turning point for this league. Because if you looked a few years ago, I guess probably at this point, it's a little bit more than a few years ago. Maybe let's just say 10 years ago, right? Like 2012, the end of the LA Galaxy.
Oh my God, 2012 was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm old.
The end of the LA Galaxy dynasty, let's say around that period. You don't look at these MLS teams and think, yeah, these teams can compete consistently winning CONCACAF Champions Leagues. Like, you could still tell there was work to do. We were still behind the 8 ball when it came to playing against Liga MX. And now with in the recent years, obviously we've seen the league improve a ton with the quality, with the type of players that they're bringing in, even just with like the academies of teams. And we knew we were building towards being able to get over that hurdle and win our first CONCACAF Champions League. And I think that would open the floodgates to us being able to win many more. I'm not saying all of them, obviously. We're not going to win every single one, but to getting over that hurdle the first time, I think would give teams a lot more confidence going into the competition. So I think this is huge as a turning point to show like, okay, this progress that we've been putting in the past few years, it's actually paying off. Like we're starting to improve internationally, like not even just within the league. We're starting to obviously get to a better standard as compared to leagues around, at least right now, just around the local area. So I think I don't think it will change too much for the league, but I think it's a great benchmark to show that like the work and the progress that teams are making is paying off, and that the league is actually improving rather than just thinking, okay, we're just getting better than where we were in 2013.
I agree. I think that's a really good point. I don't know if it necessarily changes a ton. I'd like to think it does, but you're right. If you go off of the that mindset, right? Of the mindset, what I'm looking for, the mindset of proof is in the pudding, right? Everything they've done has taken a slow and steady increase to being successful on this stage, which was a massive goal, right? Oh, I bet you they went out with a 5-year plan that said, by the end of 2025, we want to win 2 CONCACAF Champions League, whatever. And they're on pace for it. Mm-hmm. But how do you now turn that into, like I said, we're going to lose some, right? We're not just going to rule the world, but how do you get us as close to ruling the world as we can? And that goes back to money. But I've been thinking about this. The longer we have this conversation, I keep thinking about it. I don't think it's necessarily on the league. It's on the owners. The owners need to have the, como se dice, the guts. I'm going to use the term the guts to go out. And I think Toronto is doing a really good job of saying, we've got enough academy players right now, as I'm watching them now play 7 21-year-olds on the field right now. We've got enough academy players who, when we sell them on, are going to sell for 7-8 figures. We can go ahead and commit to buying Andrea Belotti, Lorenzo Insigne, all these players that put us on the face of the global market. And we can take that hit because we know if we spend, they're getting Lorenzo on a free with a $6 million contract, right? And let's say they get Belotti on a free with a $4 million contract or something like that, right? That's $10 million for a season. You sell, who's the guy we were talking about? Ralph Prisa, right? Was it Ralph Prisa who was in that academy?
They got a few guys. They got Marshall Ruddy.
Marshall Ruddy, Nelson. That's the one. I was thinking about Marshall Ruddy. Marshall Ruddy, who was in the Arsenal Academy at the beginning of the season. You sell him for 10 mil, you just broke even to have 2 world beaters on your stage, right? Then you go ahead and sell Ralph Prisa or Jaden Nelson for 2 mil to a Belgian side. You're now positive, right? So you have to have that balance, right? And I think a lot of teams are getting there, but you have to have the owners who recognize it, right? And I won't even throw Robert Kraft under the bus too much because he's gone out and gotten Carlos Hill, he's gone out and gotten Bo, and he's gone out and gotten Buxa, right? So I'm not going to throw him under there too much. But we need to find more owners like that because that's what puts you, 1, more competitive on the international stage, and 2, become a place where people want to play. And that's something we've talked about a lot is how do you make this league enjoyable?
Yeah, I think you gotta at least take the shot, right? Like I would 10 times out of 10, I'd rather a situation like Atlanta where they've thrown a ton of money at players and would say like maybe 50% of them have panned out versus an RSL who just throw money at nobody and then just watch their good players walk for pennies.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they developed Jefferson Savarino, let him go. I think they got a transfer fee for him, and they just bought him right back. They're the Chelsea of MLS, but with way less important players. Also, Toronto FC losing at the death off a 34-year-old to St. Ricketts tap in. I love it. I
Nice.
love it. Up the Vancouver Whitecaps, baby. Yeah, I would absolutely. So here's the thing, right? The other difference is you can either spend 15 mil on PT Martinez, South American Player of the Year, PT Martinez, or Marcelino Moreno, or Thiago Almada, or whatever. That still doesn't fix this, because Euro snobs don't care about South Americans either. They slander that league just as much as they slander us. So how do you balance the two, right? Because I have that conversation all the time with people who, okay, we're at a point where we are buying $22 million rated players right now out of Argentina, and all these players who were, like I said, the Luis Diaz, who's playing for Liverpool right now, was like this close to a move to an LA side. And he turned it down to go to Liverpool, and obviously a good decision for him, right? If he comes to MLS, no one cares, even if he's putting up the numbers that he's putting up in Liverpool. But now that he's doing it at Liverpool, he's a world beater. It's so, again, Euro snobs don't care about what happens in the South American leagues. Those players don't exist until they step foot on European soil. And that's what we need to fix is it's almost not even an MLS problem anymore. It's a world issue. Like, how do you get these people who are so fixated on the only people who spend money on their league and figure out how to make them care about other things? And that goes back to, do you like entertainment? Do you like a team? Or do you like the sport in general? Right? If you are there just for the entertainment or just for a certain team, you're most likely a Euro snob, because that's where the best announcers are, right? And that's massive, by the way. When you listen to people announce the game properly, right? Pete Drury, for example, phenomenal. Love listening to him speak. Versus, and I'm only going to use him because I listen to him every week, Shep Messing, right? It's two completely different things. And I love Shep, by the way. I think he's really fun to listen to. But it's just different, right? I get that. And that's something where we need to improve as well. It's so well marketed over there. So well marketed that you don't even need to, like I said, they can draw people from all over the world without anything other than a really good marketing technique. And it works because they've got the best, most expensive players, right? Football is a multi-billion-dollar industry over there. It's like what NFL is here. Unless you are truly, and I can't even say that, because now you've got, like, I've got a buddy who loves football, right? But he still won't follow MLS because he likes Barcelona more than he likes Premier League teams, right? Okay. So how do we now split that to Euro snob versus this? Now I'm just babbling on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we're way off tangent.
I know. I'm babbling and thinking out loud, and we got into a Euro snob conversation, and now I'm going off. End of the day, it's money, right? So to try to draw this all back to where we were going, what should the league be doing to ensure that we are making a really good stamp on global football? Increase the amount that owners are allowed to spend, and then find owners who are willing to spend. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. All over the place, but you got back to the point at the end.
Yeah.
Still don't know what that has to do with Seattle, but that's all right.
And it looks like this is almost Vancouver with 3 points here. My final question for you, and this is something that was brought up that I not quite sure of yet. Is this Seattle Sounders side the best team in MLS history?
I can't say that yet. I can't because they need more time in the league before I can say that. I think if Seattle wins the league, like supporter shield, I will say yes. I don't know if that's going to happen at this rate, though. They got a lot of work to do if they're going to do that.
If they win MLS Cup,
Oh, yes. But I still think a team would be able to top them at some point down the line. But yes, I
oh,
think if they
100%.
win Cup and they win Champions League, I will say that's the best team ever. Obviously, I guess no, I guess it doesn't really matter where they finish in the league because they'll have finished at least decent enough to have made the playoffs. I have just like a side note question. Does CONCACAF Champions League work the same way as like European Champions League? So like no matter where Seattle finishes this season, are they automatically in the competition next year?
I'm not quite sure.
So that would be interesting because that would knock out a spot from somebody.
Well,
You would think so, right?
Is it? I don't know if it's next season or the season after. I believe that the Club World Cup goes to like 24 teams.
Oh, really? How does that work?
So both of those, and that's what I'm gonna look into really quick. Both of the teams that would have played on Tuesday of last week would have already been qualified.
Oh, so you just have to make the final to qualify then.
Yeah. So
Boo, that's lame.
yeah, I know.
Give me the winners. It's the winners of the winners. I don't want to see like, some runner-up somewhere wins the Club World Cup and we're supposed to say they're the best team in the world. You couldn't even win your own competition. You want to tell me you're the best in the world?
So I'm looking here. CONCACAF Champions League to expand format in 2023. I thought I had heard something about them expanding as well. Current format will remain in place up through 2023. In 2023, which is next year, it will be a transition year with last edition under the current format played prior to the group stage. So it will be a regional group stage and a 16-team knockout round in the spring. So
okay. That sounds pretty similar to the European one.
Yes, it mirrors that. In the fall, they play the group stage. North America, Central America, Caribbean teams. North America has 20 teams from Canada, Mexico, and the US, with the team split into 4 groups of 5 teams. Each will play a total of 4 group stage matches, 2 home, 2 away. Top 2 teams advance from each group, and then 3 more will qualify via play-in round. And then it goes into just what we've been used to. So yeah, it'll mirror that a lot more. And that'll start in 2024. The 2023 will be the last. Yeah, so 2023 you'll have the 16 teams play for the final, and then in the fall of 2023 we'll start the 2024 cycle. So from there, then it gets a little confusing because then I don't know. You wouldn't have a spot in the finals, I don't think. The tournament will be the first under a revised 27 teams. 5 of the teams. Oh, okay. 27 teams will qualify for the tournament. 5 will get directly to the round of 16. The 22 left will go to round 1.
Got it.
This is confusing.
That's not confusing. I mean, that's right up the alley for CONCACAF. Make it as confusing as possible.
I love it. So the team entering the round of 16 directly. Champion of Liga MX, MLS Cup champion, Leagues Cup champion. The Leagues Cup matters. Come on.
What's the League Cup again?
What? What do you mean what's the Leagues Cup? It's the annual competition between clubs from MLS and Liga MX, debuted in 2019 with 4 teams.
That was the thing. Didn't Atlanta win that? I thought they won the first one. I'll look it up.
No, I don't think it was. I don't think has MLS won Leagues Cup yet. No, I think you might have won Campeones Cup.
Uh, I can't keep up with all
How
this
could you
stuff.
forget, bro? But what's the point of Campeones Cup if we have league? Oh my God, I hate this league. I love it, but God, I hate this league. So 2019. Let me see.
Oh, it was Cruz Azul won, and then Leon beat
And Leon
Seattle.
beat Seattle, so Seattle could have done it. Seattle really could have made a stamp for best dynasty.
Seattle's the best franchise in history. I mean, you can't argue that. Well, no, you could argue it, but
You absolutely
they're up
could.
there.
FC Cincinnati are on their way to the moon.
All right, settle down there. I would have given if you had said LA Galaxy, I would have given it to you, but
Man,
wow.
it's a good
All right,
thing
wait,
about
so it's those three. What are the last two?
Oh, I lost it. I closed the page out. You didn't let me prepare. The Caribbean Football Union Cup champion and the Union Centro America de Football. So basically it's the Mexican League, the winner of MLS, the winner of Leagues Cup, a team from the Caribbean, and a team from either Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, or Panama. Then Mexico gets 5 berths from their league. USA, Canada get some combination of like 7 berths. You get 4 from MLS, 1 from US Open Cup, 2 from the Canadian Premier League, and 1 for the Canadian Championship. Leagues Cup runner-up and 3rd place both get into round 1.
What?
League Cup is a 4-team tournament.
How do you even qualify for the Leagues Cup?
I love MLS, bro. This doesn't happen anywhere else. And then, okay, you ready for this one? So the Caribbean Football Union, their runner-up and 3rd place also get into the round 1. The Central American Cup, your runner-up, 2 losing semifinalists, and then 2 play-in winners both get in. Oh man,
They're just handing out invitations to anybody now.
Well, and that's how this whole thing works, right? Isn't that how this whole thing works? Is just get as many people playing as you can. That way you make the most money.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, what were we talking about?
I don't know. Is it? I think we covered. Are we moving on to Zlatan now?
No. All right, I didn't get to share my piece.
Nobody wants to hear your piece.
Are Seattle Sounders the best team in the league or in history? No. Do they have the possibility to do it? Yes. I think if you win, so it has to be any combination of obviously win the Champions League, massive. Need to either win one of Supporter Shield or MLS Cup to be even consideration. If you win one or both of them, or if you win both of them, I would say yes. If you win one of both, you need to finish top half in, like you can't finish bottom of the West and not make the playoffs at all. But if you make the playoffs, say like you sneak into the playoffs, win MLS Cup, if you go to US Open Cup or Leagues Cup or Campeones Cup and win one of those 3, I'd say you have a shot. Because at that point, then you are Toronto FC, but a step up, right? Because Toronto FC had the treble, but one of them was a Canadian Championship, which I'm not knocking, by the way. But it's obviously not what it, it's not an MLS.
It's not the CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. So they had the US, or they had the Supporter Shield MLS Cup double with the CONCACAF Champions League, right? Then you had Red Bull or FC Dallas who did a double, right? A couple teams that did a double. But if you win Champions League and one other tournament and do relatively well in a 3rd competition, I will say yes.